Hey everyone, welcome to the Fortress of Solitude podcast. I'm your host, Sergio Pereira, and today I am joined by the editor of Fortress, Jarrod Saunders. Jarrod, dude, how are you doing?
Dude, it's close to the end of the year and I wish it was 2021 already, or at least that I was on a holiday already. Like, this year's been too much.
Dude, I feel you there. I feel you. I think pretty much everyone's at that point in, like, now at the end of the year where we just all want to shut off, like, not speak to anyone, just go on a holiday, and then, you know what, come back when the world is back to normal, or some semblance of normality out there.
Yeah, it's been crazy. It's been a crazy year for everybody, I think. Even the film industry. It's just been nuts.
And funny enough, it's like one of the things we're going to be talking about today is a film that also kind of did get impacted a little bit by COVID, but not so much so. It's still coming out, which is good news. And that is Paul W.S. Anderson's Monster Hunter. And man, I've got to be honest with you. I'm a sucker. He's still my favorite Paul Anderson in Hollywood. I'm going to be honest here. He really is. Every single thing he's done, Event Horizon, Mortal Kombat, even Resident Evil, like, I just love his movies. Like, the other one is just so pretentious, you know?
Yeah.
That's just, yeah.
I know what you're trying to say. The thing is, his movies are like, they have a specific audience. Like, you go in, you watch this stuff, you don't have to think, you don't have to, you know, there's nothing else but action and big blockbuster stuff. That's what he does. That's what he does well. Yeah,
no, look, I love his stuff. His stuff is just, like you say, it's blockbuster cinema at its best. And I think that Monster Hunter is, you know, it's got the potential to also be like another massive hit. And I mean, obviously this is the first talking point, the trailer. I mean, there's been a bit of like debate about the trailer because, you know, this kind of story from Monster Hunter, from what I understand, because I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the video game. I've never really played it. So I've just never really gotten into it. But everyone's saying that this is a much more different from what the game's like. I mean, especially the introduction of like Captain Artemis, Milla Jovovich. She's obviously playing a different character that doesn't exist in the video games. So naturally, there's a bit of debate about, like, is this going to be a massive departure from what the video games are? And I think, you know, especially for diehard fans, they might be a little bit, you know, worried about that. But I've got to say, the trailer was pretty cool. I mean, those monsters look badass.
Dude, first of all, this guy does this every time. I'm pretty sure he writes scripts and then he goes, what game genre fits into this? And then he just like slaps it in there in the title and he's like, this is part of Resident Evil, even though the character doesn't exist in Resident Evil. You know? I think he's done the same for Monster Hunter. He's like, he wrote a movie and then he was like, you know what? There's this game that's pretty similar to this. Let's slap this in there, you know, and say it's a Monster Hunter movie. I'll admit, though, the trailer looks amazing. Like those giant creatures and all that stuff. That was amazing. But did it have to be a Monster Hunter movie based on the game? I don't know.
Well, it's funny you say that, though, because I was actually doing some reading about Resident Evil, and what actually happened was there was a script done actually by George A. Romero like years back. Okay. And, you know, basically Paul W.S. Anderson wanted to create a Resident Evil movie. So he basically said to the studio, you know what, I'll write a spec script, but you know what, you guys can either accept it and it's like, cool, you know, we run with it, or I'll just use the script for something else. That's why he created Alice effectively, because Alice didn't really exist. So all that he'd have to do is just change, you know, like obviously do, you know, Control F and just look at the names and change a few things and it would be sorted.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like.
And that was a cool thing about it. Like, and this is the thing with Monster Hunter, it just looks really cool. But I know what he said about it is that the reason why he created a new character here is that he wants people to experience the game the way that he did. Like, you know, the first time that, you know, basically Artemis is acting as an avatar. Okay. So for all of us to see that, and obviously there are still some characters from the game. And but yeah, I think it looks really, really cool. I think this looks like something I want to watch.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, those creatures and all of that stuff, that's something that I would love to watch at the cinema. I mean, it's a perfect Friday blockbuster with your wife or your girlfriend or whatever. You go there, you sit down, you enjoy people fighting monsters for 2 hours and while you're having popcorn, and you don't have to think about the movie after that. It just looks like one of those, a really fun night out.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is also, like like I said, I haven't played any of the games. It's just something that hasn't been on my radar. Like, I've seen it around. I remember there was a stage that I wanted to get one. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was for Nintendo 3DS. And I remember seeing this game and I wanted to buy it, but it was pretty expensive at the stage. I think it actually was marked down as a special. Then when I got to the till, it was a little bit too much. I was like, leaving it there. And the thing is, from what I've seen, you know, obviously I've seen some images, I've seen some videos of the game, and I mean, it's always looked really, really cool.
Yeah.
And this is what I thought that, like, the trailer actually managed to capture it. I mean, these monsters look pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, let's be honest here. If you look at the budget of this movie, it's actually not that much. I think it's sitting at like $60 million.
What?
I'm actually checking it right now because I remember seeing that it was something. It was like, I remember seeing this budget. I was like, no ways, man. Considering that, yeah, $60 million US dollars.
Insane.
Budget.
That's insane. It looks like, I mean, something that any one of those other big Hollywood blockbuster stuff. It looks like
that Godzilla movies.
Yeah. It looks like one of those. It looks like we should have the same budget. Actually. I mean,
look, unless maybe they just use that entire CGI budget just for those 3 minutes in the trailer, and the rest of it is people talking. We don't know.
But they actually have decent actors in there as well. I mean, I didn't notice anybody that wasn't recognizable. Like, they all seem like people I've seen in movies here and there. And they're not all A-listers, but I mean, their faces look familiar.
But I mean, you've got Tony Jaa, you've got Ron Perlman, and Milla's also in it. So I mean, it's a pretty decent cast. I mean, this is not like a budget movie, in which I think is quite remarkable. I mean, obviously we haven't seen the full movie, and it's difficult to see if a $60 million budget, you know, if it will make such a big impact. But I mean, it's really good. I mean, just from what we've seen, $60 million, and it looks just as good as some of those Godzilla movies that came out a few years back. And you think, wow, I mean. And this is the one thing I must say about Anderson that he's been really good at, is he manages to take a budget and maximize it. You know, and I mean, even like going back to, you know, the likes of Mortal Kombat, you know, from 1995, he managed to create a movie that looked really good for its time. Yes, some of the special effects might look a little bit dated now, but I mean, he managed to create the animatronic Goro as well. And they did some really, really cool stuff. And I mean, it just, you know, and he also took like a nothing budget and he managed to do something with it. And now consider this, the second Mortal Kombat movie, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, had nearly double the budget of the first one. And it looked crap compared to it.
It did. Definitely did.
I mean, well, I'm going to call crap. I can't really call it crap. I still enjoyed myself. I mean, who am I fooling here? I'm not going to be elitist. I lost my mind. I was like, oh, you know what? Seeing Liu Kang turn into a dragon and, you know, eating Shao Kahn. I'm all in. So, but yeah, this is the thing. It seems like Anderson is a huge fan of video game franchises, but he's like a better version of Eva Bull. I mean, that's just the reality.
Yeah.
Like, Eva Bull takes like a movie and he'll mess it up. And Anderson has actually managed to create successful franchises. I mean, Resident Evil, that the franchise, I mean, okay, he directed, I think, 4 of the 6 movies, if I'm not mistaken. And he actually managed to turn it into $1 billion franchise.
Wow. Yeah, that's insane. Wait, how many of them were there?
I think there were 6, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but I actually have seen all of them, but I don't remember how many were there. I mean, they were all so similar. Like, you'd go in and you'd watch them and I'd be like, which one is this again? Like, they're all so similar, you know?
I get you. But the funny thing is, again, all 6 movies, I think, had a budget of $300 million combined, somewhere around there. Yeah. So, and you know, you managed to make $1 billion out of this franchise. It's impressive. And I mean, that's the thing. I think that he's got a love for video game franchises. He's obviously shown it with Mortal Kombat, shown it with Resident Evil, and now Monster Hunter. Yeah. And I think that this could be the next big, you know, franchise for him.
Yeah, dude, I'll argue with anybody that Resident Evil had the best 3D, like, of any film franchise. Like, when you go there, you'd sit down, you'd watch the 3D stuff. They pop out more than like the rest of the films that I've seen. Like, the 3D was incredible. It was groundbreaking in that sense. Like, that's why I went to watch the Resident Evil movies. The action and the 3D. I don't think this movie has 3D though. I mean, I don't even know if 3D even exists anymore at the cinema because of COVID.
Or cinema's even going to exist after COVID. That's the next question. That's the problem. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I think he definitely has done some really cool stuff. And I think in terms of special effects, and it's quite funny when you actually go read about his history, like when he boarded Mortal Kombat, the producers were very impressed with how he managed to make such a stylish looking movie. It was his one and only British movie that he did, which was called Shopping, and they said it just looked really good with a low budget as well. And that was one of the reasons why they hired him for Mortal Kombat. And he actually had no special effects experience. He kind of winged it in those meetings, in the fake it so you make it like, yeah, we can do this. And he went and researched and went and read books on special effects and animatronics, and he literally learned on set while he was doing the stuff effectively.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And I think that shows, that he's capable of, like, he doesn't have the fear of taking on franchise. And I think this is the thing about video game franchises especially, is that you've got a built-in audience already, and they're generally going to hate anything you do. Like, that's just a reality. It's like with Resident Evil, you got a lot of stick because, obviously Alice was the lead character, not Jill Valentine, and that was, that was the main thing that a lot of people just weren't happy about it, that he obviously took liberties with it. But I think at the same time, it's like, you know what? It's a movie, you're not supposed to go and reimagine the games again. What's the point? Because you can just go play the games and it's far more interactive.
Yeah,
it's got like 40 hours of story effectively versus cramming that all into a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to do something a little different.
Yeah, that's what's cool about the movies. The fact that they sort of extend from the game. So you don't need to know too much about the games, but, it helps if you do, sort of thing.
Yeah.
What's also cool is that he keeps slapping his wife into these films as well as the lead character. Yeah.
This is great. I mean, but that's the thing, you kind of know they come as a pair now.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
It's cool. And it's like, I guess it brings a little bit of star power to the sort of franchise, because obviously everybody knows her, recognizes her, and obviously with him as well, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think she's a good actress. I mean, I've enjoyed most of her work. I mean, even in the beginning when, she couldn't speak English very well in her first few films.
Yeah, I mean, but this is the thing. It's like, it's a certain niche that he has, and that, especially with Milla joining him in this niche. And it's the one thing I'll say about all of Anderson's movies. The thing is that they are never reviewed like positively. Like, if you go look at all of his movies, like the history, I've never seen a glowing review for any of his movies, like from like overall, like Rotten Tomatoes, like 100%. He's always like somewhere, but the audience still shows up.
Yeah.
And all his movies kind of end up becoming huge cult classics. I mean, look at Event Horizon. I still maintain to this day that is probably one of the best space horrors next to Alien that I've ever seen. It literally, still to this day, I revisit that movie all the time because it's just so good. And this is the thing that I think he knows what to do, is how to make a movie for an audience. He's not trying to win, like, the Critics' Choice Awards effectively. Yeah. He's making a movie that's, like, that he knows, okay, this is what the audience wants to see. I'm going to give them all the action they want, or I'm going to give them all the suspense they want. He knows exactly what buttons to push. And I think with Monster Hunter, it's a similar thing. What do we want? We want to see action. We want to see monsters. I mean, it's a pretty simple formula.
It's right there in the title,
exactly.
They're going to be hunting monsters.
It's like, literally, if you don't know what the movie's about now, guys, like, we give up.
They also put a giant monster on the poster in case you still, wondering.
It's like, can we get like a little bit more? Like, I can just see the IMDb synopsis there. A person hunts monsters. That is literally it.
I'm looking at the list of movies he's made in Resident Evil, Event Horizon, Death Race, Alien vs. Predator he did as well. Yeah, some pretty good movies, actually.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's like I always say, I don't necessarily think that, he's vying for any Oscars here with this movie. And I think that's the most important thing. It's like, and I do think this is a cultural thing that exists in terms of like movies nowadays and the ways that we relate to movies. Everything is two extremes, and I think we've discussed it before. It's like, it has to be like an Oscar contender, or it's like the worst movie ever. And I think it's like, a very myopic way of looking at the world. Yeah. I think that's the thing. There are a lot of movies that are created that are just for entertainment value, and I think that's the thing. You're gonna go watch it. You wanna, park your mind, leave it there, just enjoy yourself, have a great time, have a popcorn movie. It's like Fast and the Furious. I mean, are you telling me that Fast and Furious makes any sense? I don't even know what those movies are about anymore. Dude. I just know they're in fast cars and they're like flying off of cliffs and they're doing shit that they're going to go into space next. That's all I know. Yeah.
Which is, I don't know how you drive a car to space, but I'm interested in seeing that one,
We'll figure it out, yeah. but exactly, but it's like, I mean, and we discussed it recently with the likes of Jiu-Jitsu, the Nicolas Cage movie. And, it's kind of funny sometimes, like when we see some of the comments that, because we do read the comments that you guys send us sometimes. We have a good laugh about it at times. And like some of the comments like, oh, this is a terrible movie. I'm like, you're missing the point. I think it is supposed to be that. It's supposed to be over the top. It's supposed to be silly. It's not supposed to make sense. This isn't a movie that is vying for awards. And I don't know. I think sometimes people view certain things like that everything that comes out there needs to be, this masterpiece that's, packaged, like you just were delivering it to the Academy, like, here you go. It's like no,
something
it's
you
not.
have to study or, look deep into. And I mean, from the moment Jiu-Jitsu starts, you're like, no, this is going to be ridiculous, right? And
exactly.
So you just accept it and you just go with it and you laugh and you enjoy the action sequences. You don't need anything more than that.
Yes. And I have a feeling like with Monster Hunter, what we're going to see is going to be a similar reaction to what happened when The Witcher came out. Because if you remember when The Witcher came out, the reviews weren't very good for it.
Yeah.
I remember it was sitting on like 50-something% on Rotten Tomatoes. And they were like, no, this is not that great. And no, this and that. And carry on. And guess what? Now, like a year later, no one cares. Everyone loves The Witcher and they're waiting for the second season. Nobody mentions that it was like, that the reviews were bad, because people just didn't care. And I think the same thing is going to happen to Monster Hunter. It's probably going to be released. The critics are going to be like, this is like, it's too much action. There's no storyline. It's like, dude, like, what are we expecting? But whatever.
Yeah.
And we're going to be seeing, I think, the start of a new franchise. I think this is going to be the next Resident Evil.
Yeah, definitely. Good VFX, good action, good stars. It looks incredible. It really does.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm definitely gonna be checking this out. And you know what? Like I said, I'm ready for it. Like whatever it is. Like I think maybe for me, probably my biggest advantage is that I don't have the history of the video games lurking over me. So it's like I will go into it watching it with a fresh set of eyes. And I think maybe that's what everyone should do. Yeah. Even the people who are watching, like who love the games and are going to be watching this.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's the best idea. But
and
I don't know. Maybe
it has a talking cat with the ninja sword. If you needed another reason to go watch it, there's a cat like at the end of the trailer that speaks Mexican or something, Spanish or something.
I think a cat might be from the games, though. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
The cat is from the games, apparently.
Okay, I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm not going to speculate here. Like this is the thing. I've tried to research a bit of the game. I'm trying to get a little bit up to date, and I know some of the characters in the movie are from the game. But like I said, there's a lot there. There's a lot to unpack. But yeah, we are super excited to watch Monster Hunter. But we want to know from you guys, what do you think? Are you going to be watching this? Or are you going to be waiting till it arrives on DVD? Let us know, drop us a line and just say, hey, I'm excited, or not for me. But Jarrod, thanks again for joining me. It was really good chatting to you again. And yeah, we must have you on the show more often. You mustn't be a stranger.
When you invite me, I'll be here.
Okay, cool. Good. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Until next time, see you later.